Hello, welcome back. Shall we have a quick chat about reading? Yeah, it's something I like to talk about. You know this. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I speak about reading a lot because I think that reading is one of the most important things that you can do to improve your English. Yeah, I do. And guess what? I did not start reading in English until I was already speaking quite a bit. And I regret that. Whoa, that's a big regret. I wish, listen to this sentence, it's great. I wish I had started sooner. I wish I had started sooner. I wish, really. But I didn't. There's nothing I can do. And you know what? The other day I got a very interesting question in my little question box on Instagram. It was, Patty, how can I forgive myself for not studying English properly in the past? Wow, I didn't even answer that question because I was so touched by that question. I thought a lot about it, and I think that's probably why I'm mentioning this to you now. Maybe you have never read a book or an article or anything really, news, anything in English, because you didn't know it was important, because you didn't think to do it, because nobody told you, or they did and you didn't listen. It's not too late. Okay, so it's okay that you were doing things before that were not really helping. It's okay that you did not do things that would help so much, like reading. It's okay that you didn't realize that particular English course that you were doing or English lessons that you were taking were not in fact helping, and you paid for them for like 5 years. And it's absolutely okay that you never really had a realistic goal for yourself. It's still absolutely okay for you to start now. You can still start now. You can change things about your learning at any given time. Any given time, okay? So there are things that I've noticed about my learning that I've changed, and such as reading. So the first book I read in English, if I'm not wrong, was The Time Traveler's Wife, which was in 2009. I arrived in England at the end of 2002. You do the maths. Yeah, you do the maths means you can count how many years, right? It's a lot. You do the maths. People use that a lot in English. You do the maths. And for people like me who are not very good at maths, it's great because we don't have to do anything. We just say, you do the maths. It makes us sound cool, but we actually can't count. What? I can count. I can... Anyway, so the first book I read, which is quite a big book, to be honest, The Time Traveler's Wife, is quite a chunky book. Quite chunky, like 400 odd pages, quite a big one, with small font as well. And it's a great fiction book. I really enjoyed it. And it was a book I read in 2009, which means I was already very proficient with my speaking. I spoke quite well in 2009, not as well as I do now, but I spoke really quite well. And it was the first book I read. And ever since that book, I have read many. But I also went through periods of my life that I was not reading at all. Especially after having kids. Oh my God. Now listen to this structure. After having kids. Why ing is not continuous, is it? Stop thinking about continuous. Jeez. Ing is so much more than you think. So after having children, my reading slowed down quite a bit, to be fair. So I didn't really read much for the first 4 years of motherhood. Really, I didn't. I was tired, I was busy, I was thinking of other things, I was exhausted. Did I mention tired? Yeah. So, I had other things to do. Reading was not my priority anymore. And this is what I mean about learning to be very honest with yourself. I've told you guys so many times. When you learn to be honest with yourself, you can say to yourself, this was not my priority and that's why I didn't do it. Instead of finding a billion different excuses. It was not my priority. I was exhausted. I think this is it really, and I stopped reading. And then recently, in the past 2 years, I've picked up on my reading for real, and I've been reading consistently again. So I finish a book and I start another, finish a book and start another. So I go from one book to the other without a break. And that has been extraordinary for me. And not only because I really enjoy reading, but also because I notice how much my English improves as I read. You know, I'm looking at structures that I don't know. I'm looking at structures that I know but I forget to use. Words that I know and I forget to use. I am constantly being reminded of so many things. And this is why, one of the reasons why I recommend reading so much to you guys. Yes, so forgive yourself for not having done it before. It's fine. It's fine. You can still do it now. And it doesn't have to be a book. Maybe you'll say to me, Patricia, I really don't like books. I'm not a book person. And that's my husband's situation, you know. He reads a lot. He reads articles, news. He's very interested in so many different subjects. But when it comes to sitting down with a book, God, I've never seen him do that. And we've been together 11 years. He's not a book person. And maybe that's the case with you. And that's fine. But find something to read that you can read about. Maybe you love technology and you want to know more about things that are happening in the tech world. And that's it. You can find a tech blog and I'm sure you can read articles from that blog. One article a day. Fantastic. So, do you see what I'm saying to you? So what I wanted to say as well specifically today is I've just finished a book, and it was a book written by a radio host that I know reasonably well because I've listened to this radio for years, and I don't listen to it every day, but I used to listen to it a lot more when I lived in London. So I've mentioned this radio before. Is LBC, so London's Biggest Conversation, LBC 97.3, which is a radio station only for conversations. So callers, people call in and they discuss this particular topic that they're talking about. And the host, which is the person who talks to callers, yeah, one of them, there are so many, but one of them is this man called James O'Brien. And I've just finished his book, one of his books, I think he's got more than one, which is called How to Be Right in a World Gone Wrong. And he is this very intelligent man, very articulate, who can talk about a number of different topics. And the book is quite complex because he's discussing specific topics that kind of were linked to conversations he's had with callers that were quite complex. So things like Brexit and feminism and racism and Donald Trump, you know, things like that. So I read the whole book quite quickly. It's, you know, quite enjoyable, but at the same time, I am fully aware that fully aware means I know for sure. I'm fully aware that there are so many words I don't know in that book, so many structures I don't know, and so many things I didn't even understand. And this is my reason for being here today. Okay? You will not pick up a book and understand everything all the time. Some books are very easy to read, in fact, and you will probably understand everything. But others, you might not. So expect that. You're bilingual. Yay! It's lovely. It's okay to not understand everything, you know? And I have to remind myself as well that I usually read at bedtime. So at bedtime, I'm tired. My brain's a lot slower, and it's my second language. It's not my mother language, right? It's the same with you guys watching me now. Most of you anyway, right? Why would you be here if you're a native speaker of English? God, I have no idea. Why are you here? Anyway, welcome. So, you know, I have to bear in mind, think about all of these things that will affect my reading. So if I read that book first thing in the morning, wake up, yay, stretch, have my breakfast, open the window. That's so not my life, but I would probably understand a lot more of those complex structures and have the energy to look up some of the words that I thought was interesting, that I thought were interesting, and I could potentially learn some of them, yeah? So always be truthful to yourself. What time of the day am I reading? What am I reading? What is the reason why I don't understand these structures? What is the reason why I have no idea what this whole page is about? It can happen depending on what you're reading, yeah? If it's fiction, God, absolutely. If it's a classic novel or something that is a little bit more complex, you may as well go through a whole page and have no idea what the author was talking about. Yeah, and you might feel a bit confused. That's okay. So remember to, if you're going to be approaching reading now for the first time, to choose a book that is not so complex. A book that just came to mind now is a book I recommended before, which is an Oprah book. You know Oprah, right? The fantastic TV host from the US. The book is called What I Know for Sure. And that's but it's a simple book to read, and it's full of great life lessons, and it's not so big, and it's enjoyable. So if you're getting started, that could be a good one for you. Give yourself this moment to be in contact with English as something that makes you feel good, not something that you're stressed about and, oh my God, I don't understand anything, I don't understand any words. No, just relax. And whatever you do, just do not choose something super complex for now, okay? It's not what you want right now. So one step at a time. You start with something simple, you move forward to something a little bit harder to read, okay? Yeah, what a long chat. My goodness, I've been speaking a lot. But I wanted to thank you for being here today, and give me your thoughts in the comments down below about reading. If you do it, if you don't, why? And remember to forgive yourself for what you did or didn't do about your English in the past. It's absolutely okay. There's still time to do things differently. Okay, thank you for being here. See you later. Goodbye.